What's up, dudes? So after the kolaches, the sweet ones, I got some farmer's cheese, which is basically in between a like a cream cheese and between a cream cheese and a cottage cheese, maybe. And so I had a lot left over, and I was like, I let me look up some recipes, and so I found farmer's cheesecake, which is just like a cheesecake mostly. And so I thought I'd whip it up, and yeah, but unfortunately, I left it out on the counter and I fell asleep on the couch. And so I had to toss it the next morning. You're going to see that. But what's on my mind right now? So, if you haven't seen the news or seen the memes or seen people talking about it, the Silicon Valley Bank that crashed. And I feel like this has already been talked to at length, but it just so on my mind, and especially seeing the response from like higher ups in the tech industry and in Silicon Valley, as you see them like begging for these bailouts and asking for all this stuff, which like the bank's got a full bailout, and I'm not here to like put my opinion on what that is, but it's such a drastic tenor from basically what these whole guys' ideologies are, which is like techno libertarianism. And it just is so true that I just saw a tweet which prompted me to talk about this, but basically, for any public goods, those should be privatized and those should be run um, privately with the genius of the free market. But anytime there's any need for business or need to bump up sales or need to stop a striking union in the name of profits, that always goes through. And so that's all these guys who were just months ago talking about student debt cancellation is so not well or whatever, when a completely deregulated bank has these risky investments and collapses, then they're rushing to the government to try and get them to bail them out. And they did, and it makes sense that that happened with our government and the way we treat economic um, policies. But uh, it happened because Silicon Valley, it was something like 83% of startups were banking completely with this bank. And like the way this bank acted should not be possible with like a legitimate, coherent like regulation structure. And it just makes me think about so much of tech specifically in Silicon Valley and San Francisco since like Obama. That was a big way that Obama like fixed the economy, quote unquote, and really got up after the recession. But one thing, I don't know the full facts on this, but basically the main like jobs that were covered after recession are contract jobs and gig work and all the sorts of things that have proliferated. And a lot of that was from actual government like aid of the tech industry. I mean, Tesla is basically built on the fact of like electric car subsidies, giveaways. And Elon Musk will talk about how big government's bad, but that built the back of his biggest company, which made him the richest man on earth. And so, oh yeah, that's all to say that like these guys want the government not to reap from the rewards that they can bring, such as all this scientific investment and money and things pumped to the tech industry. But the second that the tech industry goes too far and acts too risky and all freak each other out in a big group message and cause a bank run, well, then the government needs to come save them because it's not their fault and they deserve it. So I don't know. I'm not saying one way or the other. Like, I don't know financial policy to that degree, but these are like the things that are happening with that. Um, and it just sucks. Like Uber, all these disruptions basically wanted to disrupt into a monopoly, or like Uber is like, hey, let's put every taxi cab driver in the country out of business, and like make people these like private contractors who are making money, but they're not like responsible for the cars. Like the company can drop so many of those liabilities by putting that on the employee, which at that point they're not an employee. It's gig work, and a lot of people do it. I'm not saying that like the work they do is invaluable. Like they're obviously doing a lot, but they're being so exploited that it just sucks. And so that's why it kind of feels like we have this zombie economy, And I think a lot of tech is like on rickety foundation, and a lot of it is based on bombast and just trying to attract these angel investors who know they're kind of gambling, but you can get huge rewards. And so it's just a big mess, and it's frustrating just seeing how much yeah, the American economy feels kind of messed up right now.